wants Hashem to see. I have no idea what the lady was.
She said to do it to him?
She said to, no, I didn't say a word. I was minding my own business. I'm just going to tell people what to do. Yeah. She told her 2 kids. Maybe it was a diversion tactic, maybe it wasn't. It doesn't make a difference. It's very important that the kids know you have problems, you have to daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay. Here we go. We are in Sif Beis, not like it says here.
Okay.
Not like it says here. Okay. We're in Sif Beis. What does that mean? Is that Azakah?
Oh. It says you can go out now.
No, you can go out.
You can go out of your...
Why? It was well more than...
Huh?
Was it like 8 o'clock or something like that the last one?
I don't know.
When there was a lot of... Here you were able to see?
You saw some stuff.
His mom...
Like in the sky, I Dome, I think it was.
His mom was very... You could see all over the place. On the roads, it's quite scary.
We heard a lot.
All right. Anyways. All right. Sif Beis, I would like to do it perhaps a little bit faster, but there's important Mishnah Berurah over here. Imeis asher chotaloi, maybe asar b'nei adam or mamidam al kivroi, v'omer chatasi elokei Yisrael v'leploini, zeh shechatasi loi. What is that? Now, what is that means to say, what are you doing? Are you asking him Mechila?
What are you saying?
You say, Chatasi lelokei Yisrael. Chatasi lelokei Yisrael, v'leploini zeh shechatasi loi.
This is you tell the person?
You say in front of the person. I bring 10 people. No.
The guy's dead and he sinned while he was still alive.
No. Reuven sinned against Korach. Korach died. So now we go to Kever and we say in front of the Kever that I sinned to Hashem and I sinned to you.
Okay.
So is that like asking Mechila? What are we doing exactly? This is a difficult question to understand. And there's another aspect over here. What's the minyan for? What's the minyan doing?
Isn't it a kind of vidui?
I don't know. Let's say it is. Does it need a minyan to say vidui?
Well, there is some connection with the minion, isn't there? Like
there's also something. There's also vidui b'rabim, but it doesn't have to be vidui b'rabim. Why do we say in silent Shmona Esrei we also say vidui, right? That's Vidas Yochid, and then we have Vidas Rabim, right? So why did we choose over here the Vidui of Rabim? No, this needs an explanation of what's going on, and I'm not really going to go into it. I'd like to see the Mishnah Berurah over here is something which is fascinating, which I would like to go into. Okay. Vim Kara okay. Where is the piece they're looking for? Al Kivroi. V'tzorach leilach sham yachaf. Yudalid. You have to go there barefoot. V'hu chutz l'shosha parsos yishlach shlucha l'sham v'ashliach yikach asar anoshim v'yelech al Kivroi v'yivakesh mechila b'shem ha'mecharif. The person who...
If the person is alive, you don't need 10 people to...
Correct. 3.
3 people.
Right. That's part of the question. Okay. V'yoymar, and he should say, "He play the rabbi sheshalachti cholo." V'mchefu achar misa. If a person cursed somebody out after the person died, eino tzorach leilech al kivroi. You don't have to go to his kever to ask mechila. Ela mevakesh v'ela mechila b'makom shebishoy. You ask him mechila in the place where you embarrassed him.
I mean, in front of the people.
Something like that. It's not clear exactly what it means. And this is a fascinating Mishnah Berurah, and there's a lot written about this Mishnah Berurah. I have helped somebody write a long piece on this Mishnah Berurah one time, a few years ago. But it seems over here that you can't really damage somebody dead. You understand?
If they're already dead, you can't do anything further to them.
You can't, I can't make you lose money after you don't have any, right?
And now so the question would be with the reverse, can you help anything after
Oh,
they're dead?
so now, I just want to at least touch on the anatomy of what we're discussing over here. If the person's was damaged when he was alive, so then you ask mechila from the person after he's dead. If the person was damaged after he was dead, it seems that there's no reason to ask mechila from the person. You did some kind of an avera, and that has to be rectified. So far, so good. Now we'll see the next halacha, which makes life a little bit more difficult.
So if you did it after he's dead, there's no ben adam l'chaveru part there?
That's what I'm telling you, l'chayra.
So why do you have to do anything?
Since you're an American, I'll tell it to you like an American. If your wife tells you, if you do something in the forest and your wife didn't hear about it, are you wrong, right? So something like that. That's the way it goes, the American version of the tree falling in the forest, right? If I said lashon hara on a dead person, do I have to ask mechila? This is the question we're going to discuss in a minute.
For his family.
It depends what I said. What do I do to his family? Let's see the next halacha. Beforehand, I just want to read this Ramah. This Ramah is relevant to my Shabbos Shuvah drasha, but I probably will forget to say it, so I might as well say it now. V'nagu levakesh mechila b'erev Yom Kippur. Mazeh. We just right now learned the whole siman about asking mechila, and then what was this added in? And then I'll add on to that question. The Chayei Adam says that you should ask mechila on Erev Rosh Hashanah because you're close enough chaparine, something like that. I forgot exactly how he says it. But there's really no reason to ask mechila on Erev Rosh Hashanah.
I would say before Rosh Hashanah, it's to clean your slate already before Rosh Hashanah.
Not only that, I have a much better idea. If you did something wrong, you should ask mechila, even if it's in the middle of a teves, right?
It's true, but people aren't necessarily thinking in that way.
So this is the point. This is part of the question. This also has to do with what we're going to speak about on Shabbos Shuvah Mitzvah Hashem. This is an imloi achshav emasai idea, or this is the last stop. Everybody out, right? But B'atzem, it doesn't make any difference if this was your stop or not. It's just the end. Or is this really a time to be asking mechila? Meaning to say, always if somebody did something wrong, he's supposed to ask mechila. But there are certain times which are more, probably both.
More opportune, or the other party is more likely to be willing to do it at that time.
Willing to accept it?
That's probably also true, but it seems to me from all that which is written on the subject that it has to do with your obligation at this time. How do I know that? Because we learned it right here last week, or maybe it's 2 weeks ago. I can't remember exactly how many weeks ago it was. Task will have to look it up. And this needs a hesber also. I glossed over it when we learned it because we didn't have time. It was at the end of a thing. It says, "Aval be'erev Yom Kippurim mechuyev l'saken hakol kedei sheyitoher mikol avanoisov. L'chsev ki bayom hazeh echaper aleim mikol chatoseichem." What does that mean? That means that the offender has an obligation to clean his slate before Yom Kippur. Now, just to address parrots over here, from the famous questions of the Bali Musar are, shouldn't you make Yom Kippur before Rosh Hashanah? You shouldn't. That should have been a question like you should ask, right?
Well,
Ksiva saying, yeah.
you do ksiva before chasima.
That's true, but maybe we have the ksiva with the Yom Kippur and the chasim with Rosh Hashanah. First, you should ask forgiveness, and then you should be Malach HaKadosh Baruch Hu, or first you should be Malach HaKadosh Baruch Hu and then ask forgiveness. What should be the normal progression?
If you're not mamlich, you don't necessarily recognize that you did something wrong. You first have to have someone in charge, and then I didn't do what he told me to do.
All right. Let's say that I'll accept that. It's not wrong what you're saying, but would that apply to Beram L'Chaver also?
Beram L'Chaver does have the aspect of Beram L'Makom and also.
This is true, but I'm asking you a question. Is that the answer? Or as I say this to my kol all the time, not everything that answers the question is a teretz.
No, but the same principle is there. If I haven't made Hashem my melech yet, so who says? Why am I thinking it's wrong what I did to the other guy?
No, it's a question. Of maybe it's a mistake. All right, it's not wrong what you're saying. But I think it's lacking a little bit in understanding, because even there are many people that know that I could. No, let's start with a simpler question. This is like a Rosh Hashanah question. I apologize for switching subjects. But we say at least 4 times a day, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. What do we say when we're saying that?
What do we think?
What are we projecting? That Kadosh Baruch Hu is the Melech, and he's right. That's what we're saying, right? So we're be'etzem are makabel ol malchus shemayim every day, several times. So what's so special about Rosh Hashanah?
There's more of an Indian.
I know the words you said.
There's more of an Indian at the time when, like, the world was created.
Okay, let's say that's true. Is that so? Just say your Shema Yisrael in the morning with more kavanah.
Melech Basadeh. King is more imminent, so it has much more meaning.
Okay, that's the same idea. Same idea, but does it demand a whole new process, or are we discussing it at a different level? I believe we're discussing it at a different level. What?
It's human nature. That to do every day, people kind of.
You remind me of the Beis Halevi's question. How's that? Like, you remind me of the Beis Halevi's question, right? And Beis Halevi, what? Yeah, I can think of worse things. You remind me of his teretz. Beis Halevi asked, what's the difference between Zechi Yitzias Mitzrayim that we have on El Seder and Zechi Yitzias Mitzrayim that we have every day? And he gives 3 answers to the question, right? In other words, we have the seemingly same mitzvah, and he makes 3 clear distinctions between the 2 of them. If you give me a minute, maybe we'll even be able to pull one up. Is that what we're talking about? Or here we understand clearly that we're talking about something else?
What do you mean, as far as...
I'll just tell you, the being Malach HaKadosh Baruch Hu on Rosh Hashanah is the same thing we do every year, or we're doing it at a different level, discussing a different aspect of it. That's what I'm asking. A very simple question.
Than the rest of the year?
Yeah, the rest of the year.
Oh, we're for sure doing it
more
intensely, more...
Or we're discussing a different
however...
No, because it means something else. It means something else. That when you discuss that you are our king, let's say, we live in a country and we have a king. So you are our king. Then you say you're the king of the entire universe. And I'm part of that universe. Do you say the same thing?
It's considered like a coronation of a king, isn't it?
I don't know what those fancy words mean. I asked you a question. Are those 2 things that I said the same thing? You say you are my king, and you're the king of the entire universe, and I'm one of those people. The intensity It's not more.
It's more intense.
It's more. It's a greater, a deeper, a broader.
My king as opposed to king of the universe.
Right. It's a different. It means something else. Even though, as far as I'm concerned, there's no nafkamina. If he's your king, it doesn't make a difference how many other subjects he has. Right. In other words, a person who has a father, it's his father, and even if he has a brother, that make him less his father, right? It's not, one is not at the expense of the other, but we could talk about that us brothers have a father, and that's different than speaking about your father yourself, right? Anyways, so the idea of asking for mechila is Yom Kippur oriented, and it's appropriate for that time. And even the Svarim that say you should do it on Rosh Hashanah is because it's not really the time. The time is really the time. Not now meaning on Erev Yom Kippur. Okay. Now Takodas Kadmenu Cherem Shaloi Lahoitzi Shem Ra Al HaMesim. What says over here, whoever's a lamdin, what does it say here? It says there's no isser to say lashon hara on mesim. Can you read? Isn't that what it says? How does it say that? Because it says we had to have the go'onim make a cherem that you shouldn't do it, right? If it would be usser, we wouldn't have to invoke a takana of a cherem, right? So there's no isser of saying shemra on mesim.
We can see that from the Tanakh as well.
Well, how do we see that?
Famous episode, wasn't it King Kiyahu? He took the body of his father Menashe from the grave and dragged it through the streets.
Yeah, it was a kapara. That's a whole discussion why he did that. But how do we see this? Here we're talking. This is what he says. Shaloi lahoitzi shemra al mesim. His father did not win the top 10 tzaddikim, right? Yeah, that he maybe did do, right? Yeah. So there's not much to learn from over here. Here we're talking about a fine fellow that he died, and somebody says he stole from me $1 million, and there's no $1 million to collect. All he did was threw mud on this guy who's dead. So he said Motzi Shemra on a guy who's dead. So he did nothing wrong. That's what it seems, right?
There's stories of people who said things about certain tzaddikim and the scoring fell on them, and stories of that nature. That because they made
One second. That's first of all, it's a fascinating point that you picked on that particular thing. No, but I'm saying because there are those who say that this is only true about regular people, but about tzaddikim and talmidei chacham, the halach is different. In other words, punkt, you happen to pick a bad mashal, but whatever, because it's a b'zayir atar. There's reasons given that for. But you're saying your punkt happened to pick a bad case or a good case. You can call it whatever you want. But the question is, why should this be so? There's a question, why should it be so? And I believe the simple answer to the question is you can't cause him damage. The isser of this probably shouldn't be said while I'm being recorded, but what can we do? It's before Hashanah, so we'll try to say the truth. When we learned Pirkei Avos a few weeks ago, and the time before we learned Pirkei Avos, I skipped a Rabbeinu Yoina on purpose. A very important Rabbeinu Yoina. And the reason why I skipped it, because in the Shir I don't think that it's a place to discuss, things have their places where they should be discussed. Is there an Isser to say a lie? Someone says, what's your name? So you say, Shmuel Cohn. Did you do anything wrong? Okay. So I'm going to read Rabbeinu Yoina, which says something which is amazing. What is going on? This is a different source. Adaf. Okay. V'amru Chazal. Sipur dvarim ba'almo. Ein lo la'adam l'shaker. What does ein lo la'adam l'shaker mean?
It's not for him to lie.
Yeah, but what does it mean? It means that it's usher?
This is not answer.
It means that it's not. This is not a wise thing to do, right? Ein lo l'shaker, it doesn't mean that it's usher. It just means you shouldn't do it, right? Ein lo l'shaker, kahu uvda derav. The Gemara says a fascinating story. There's two Gemaras actually. Perhaps it's kedai to expand on this. This guy had a wife who she was a mean wife to her husband. What?
She was an opposite person.
He said, "I want milchiks for supper," so she made him fleischiks. She said, "I want fleischiks for supper," so he said milchiks. So he told the son, "Tell mommy I want fleischiks." So the son wanted to be mechaber his father, so he told his mother that he wants milchiks. Okay, and the guy came home and he thought his wife did tshuva, right? Because he got exactly what he wanted. That's not what happened. So he says, "You shouldn't do that. You lied. Did you do something wrong?"
I thought it was on. Don't you say you're allowed to tell a lie for shalom bayit, and that's what he did.
There's also more that says there's three things you can lie about.
Okay, fine.
Sounds like everything else you can.
You know what? I'm willing to. The Chazon Ish in this subject brings that Gemara as a raya. That's very good, and we'll see. We'll see if there's an answer to that question. Maybe we'll have time. So but anyways, I'm not going to answer your question or his question because I don't have to. You know why I don't have to? Because I'm reading the Rabbeinu and it says, right? You know, I don't have to create this point. This is what he says. Why? Mishum shenemar limdu l'shoynam daber sheker. Ki ha'adam hamargil l'shoynai l'daber sheker b'dvar she'em boy lo hefsid v'lo te'eles. Gam ki yavo l'daber b'dvarim shel ikar lo yochol loymar ha'emes. Ki piyu ha'medaber v'aherger sholet b'alav. You become a habitual liar. So he says, even though there are situations where there's no isser to say a lie, you're allowed to say a lie anyways, because you should not say a lie anyways because it will put you into a compromised situation somewhere else. It's so fascinating about it. I have much to...
There's also the city that they didn't die because they didn't
lose, lose, right. Kushta, right. Okay, but anyways, so this is a fascinating now. But what do I want from this, Rabbeinu? And I don't want to talk about lying. I want from Rabbeinu says that the issue of lying is only when the person is going to get damaged. Right? If I'm going to lie and I'm going to say that he has $1 million, so he can be damaged from that, right? Or I say he doesn't have $1 million, he can be damaged from that, or whatever it is, right? So then it would be a problem. But if it's not going to cause any damage, so then Rabbeinu seems to say that there's no isser of lying. What about if I say, I go right now to Saskatchewan, okay? And I say, Peretz Dissin is a mean guy. Is there a chance that Peretz will be damaged from me saying that? I find it hard to believe.
Tzipor katan,
Seder. But, right? So, maybe there's no issue of Lashon Hara. Now, where the Tzipor Katan can't do anything is a dead guy. Well, like Tolat Katan, but not Tzipor Katan. Right? So, perhaps, and there are some who go with this approach to explain this halacha, you can't say that there's an Isser of Lashon Hara to say something about a dead guy because you can't hurt him. It's not Negeya. You're a bad guy if you do it, and you shouldn't do it, and we have all kinds of adjectives to call you, but you can't say, perhaps you can't say that it's Usser. This is...
That depends on the machlokas, whether that people are aware of what's going on in the world.
Today you're on the money. Rabbi Yashav asked that question. And I don't know if I don't know if there's an Israeli knows Dvarim on dead people. In other words, you can't damage him. You make him feel bad. And I want to tell you something else. There's a very important machlokes that I really wanted to speak about last week, which I didn't speak about, but I'll mention it here. There's a machlokes, the Chafetz Chaim and Misol Salanter. Halacha l'maisa. I said that Peretz Dissen is a Baal Lashon Hara. How's that for a nice piece of Lashon Hara? I said Peretz Dissen is a Baal Lashon Hara to Lev Seltzer. And Lev Seltzer learned Hilchos Lashon Hara. We're going to have them in the back of the Parsha sheet one day. And so he knows that his name is Lawrence Seltzer, that comes from what's the name of that place in New York? Roslyn, New York. Yeah, fit right into the thing, right? And he knows you're not allowed to say anything, so it just went from me to him and never caused you any damage. Right? Never caused you any damage. I told him that you're. What I said? No, I said you're a Baal Lashon Hara. I didn't say.
Oh, not about him.
Not Rechilas. I said you. I said I don't know, whatever that very was. I said that to him, and he's a good Erlich Yid.
He knows not to believe it.
About you for sure, right? So
I don't believe it about me, so I don't know.
I know that's the we all don't believe about ourselves. That's the problem, right? Anyways, so he didn't say anything, so no damage was done. So the halacha is that I have to go and ask you mechila. The halacha is, which we learned last week, though yes, mechila, you have to tell the person the chet that you did. Now, when I'm going to say, Peretz, I told Lev that you're a Baal Lashon Hara, so I'm going to cause you to feel bad, right?
Right.
We'll assume, right?
Yeah.
We'll assume. So, this is very piggish, because I want mechila, so I could make you feel bad.
I think that's covered, isn't it?
Covered?
That you don't do it in that case. You don't go for
No, Chafetz Chaim says you have to do it.
Even
Rabbi Yisrael Salanter disagrees, and Rabbi Yisrael Salanter says in that case, if you're going to cause him anguish, so you should only ask in a general way and not do it according to the regular halacha. Now, the question over here is, so why do you have to ask mechila and nothing happened? Right? We just built a edifice that if nothing happened, the answer is you did something which could cause him damage. That's a kind of a thing. And once you did such a kind of a thing, so then you have to ask mechila.
Could cause him damage.
It's a kind of a thing which could cause him damage. The fact that it didn't, a person said Lashon Hara to somebody and then the guy died who he heard it from. He got struck down on the spot. Right? So, but you did something that could cause him damage. But anyways, this is...
If I drive his car, I could also cause him damage.
Oh, I know what you said.
If I drive his car, I can also cause him damage.
I lost that.
Is it shlichus yad if there's no chisaron?
I think we could learn Daf Mem Gimel in Mafke to find the answer to that. Well, why are you asking?
I'm saying here, this is you did something, but there was no chisaron.
So we're saying, but the halacha is, that the Chofetz Chaim says, that you're mechuyev to tell him about that which you did. But now that was in a situation where it could have caused him damage. And this is where the Mefarshei Chofetz Chaim discuss, if I say in Saskatchewan about Peretz Dissin that he's Baal Lashon Hara, so without your little birdie, nothing's going to happen, so that it comes a question whether there's an Issur Lashon Hara on that. All right. But Al Kaponim, here is a source, according to many, that there is no Issur of Lashon Hara on a dead person, to say Lashon Hara on a dead person. There's a cherem, and you're not allowed to do it, but not because of a Issur Lashon Hara, it's because there's a cherem. All right. The Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur, he went to the mikveh 5 times. OCD? Could you be more tahor?
It was for changes of state, no? He's going from chitzon to pnimi to chitzon. No?
I'm not arguing with you. What did he do?
There are tefillas that are not necessarily for tumah as is, just for...
So this is the subject with the just for what? Finish the sentence.
For the change.
So what does it do? It doesn't make you more tahor?
I guess it clears whatever was remaining from the previous state. So it goes into the state.
All right.
That's what does tefillah do in general? I don't know.
It's matahir you. How's that for an answer?
That's a secret. What does that mean?
I
wanted water.
I
wanted some water.
No. You can't do that to me. It's matahir. Now you want to know, what does tahira mean? I'll answer that question. But you ask me, what does it do? It's matahir. The end.
Okay.
Can it do anything else besides be matahir? You can't be more tahor. You're as tahor as you can be. You can't be more tahor. Right? So if you're going to say that there is an added thing of doing more tefillas, it's obviously not to be matahir you. It's doing something else.
There's different levels in the Mishnah and Begiga that talks about being matahir yourself for the different levels.
The answer to that question is, those are all drabanan, and there, if you had in mind for the highest level, then you have it. Then the lower levels are included. But it's true, what you're saying is true, but that's because you don't have the Torah. You don't have the highest level of Torah. But if you already have the highest level, when he went to the Kodesh HaKadoshim, he already has the highest level of Torah. Why don't we say B'chal Masai Mona? Because what are you going to the mikveh for again? Okay? So there's an answer to this question. This is not my question.
He's also changing clothes.
What does that do? Wash your hands.
He does that twice.
We're used to certain things, and I just will read the Ramah over here. Perhaps we don't have much time. Ve'ein tzarich litvol rak pam achas b'loi vidui mishum keri v'hu adin etc. You only have to tovel one time. So it's implicit in the Mishnah Berurah, the Ramah, that there are times where you have to tovel more than one time. Here, this tefillah doesn't demand more than one tefillah. But it makes it clear, and it's already the Shari Tshuva over here discusses there are those that you should tovel 36 times, and there's all kinds of, but this subject revolves around what you're toveling for will determine how many times one should tovel. I guess we'll stop over here.
The midnight, not to